In this video, I'm going to show you some generators inside of Final Cut Pro that everyone should know about. You can find your generators by going to the top left corner. You'll see your titles and generators, and we can find our generators right here. I'll go ahead and expand that out. And the first generator we're going to take a look at can be found inside of your background. You'll see a whole bunch of different generators that are all installed in Final Cut Pro by default. And the one I want to take a look at is this drifting generator. I'll go ahead and just drop this down on the timeline. And you can see that we have these bubbles that are slowly drifting. But the reason why I really like this generator is because we can change it over to something like dust particles. So if we go on over to the generator settings, you'll see our shape and we can change it from bubbles over to stuff like sparks, moths, puffballs, and finally dust, which is my favorite element to use. So you can see how that's slowly drifting in our scene. From there, we can drag up stuff like the number. We could change our scale. We could drag up the speed, the randomness, adjust the opacity, and the blur amount, and finally the pattern. So once we've made all of those adjustments, we've really changed how these dust particles look. The reason why I really like this generator is because it allows us to add depth to scenes if we wanted to add some nice little floating dust particles, but it also makes it so we can create some interesting looking backgrounds inside of Final Cut Pro. The next generator I want to talk about is the rays generator. That is also found inside the backgrounds category, and the rays have a lot of really cool options we can work around with. For one, it's animated by default just like so. We can click and drag where this animation point is on the screen. We can adjust how many points are on the screen. We can adjust how fast it is spinning. We can adjust the randomness of the different points, which is really cool. We can adjust the radius of this entire object, and we can do that actually on the screen, which is very handy. We can change the circle size, so there's this background element of a circle. Of course, we have full control over all of the different colors happening in the scene. We can adjust if we have soft shadows, the shadow distance, and shadow opacity. So there's actually a whole lot of controls here to get a completely different look with these different rays. I just love using this for branded backgrounds, as we can change all of the colors. We can adjust the animation to be much more pleasant. So this is just a really cool generator to know about and have in your back pocket. The next generator we're going to take a look at can be found under your elements, and it's called counting. Now, I actually only recently discovered this one. I originally thought there was no way to add any sort of numbers inside of Final Cut Pro outside of the timecode, so I was really happy to know that Final Cut Pro already had this element. If we push play, we can see that these numbers are already animated for us. What we can do is jump on over into our generator settings, and we can adjust stuff like the color, the font, the tracking. We can adjust what kind of format it's under, so if we want it to be a percentage. We can adjust the start number, so by default it starts at 1, and we can have that count up to 100%. And that animation is going to take place over the entire duration of this generator. So if we wanted to speed up the animation, all we would need to do is shorten down the generator, and if we push play, now it plays out much faster. We can also add in decimal points if we wanted to. We could add in more digits if we wanted to. The thousand separator, we could have it be a random number. You can adjust the random seed and the random hold frame. So if you wanted to space out how often these numbers are shown, you can adjust that random hold frame. And finally, at the very bottom, we can monospace everything. So this number counter has a lot of options around it. But what if you wanted the number to stop at a certain point? Well, one way to do that would be to go ahead, let's get rid of the randomization, and let's say we want it to end at 100%. We could just duplicate this counter over to the right hand side so it has all of the same settings, but instead change it so the start and end point are exactly the same. Let's go ahead and just type in 100%. So now it will count up to 100% and then stop at the very end. The fourth generator we're gonna take a look at is also inside of this elements category, and that is the placeholder generator. This is really incredible if you are trying to create a video and you need some filler scenes before you have the actual clips for your final edit. As you can see, I've dropped this down on the timeline, and it's just a very basic scene. We can see two people standing here on a sunny day. But if we wanted to, we can adjust a whole lot of different settings. For one, we can change what kind of camera shot we have. So right now it's a long shot. Let's go ahead and change it over to a close-up. We can also change it so that there are 4 people in the scene. We could change their genders if we wanted to. We could also change the background to something like a beach, and that would be better seen on the long shot here. We could change it to be a sunrise sunset scene. We could also change it so that they are in an interior or exterior, and finally we can even add in some notes. We could type in whatever we want, like subscribe. And now whoever's watching this video will know that they can subscribe while they're checking out our placeholders. And the fifth generator that everybody should be aware of is actually a collection, and it's found under objects. You'll see that we have a bell notification icon that's animated really nicely. We have a cursor, we have a heart, we have a play button, just like for YouTube, and finally we have a thumbs up. So these are all built into Final Cut Pro, very nicely animated for you, and you can even change the color up here in the top right hand corner. So those are really nice to know about if you wanted to add in a nice little lower third to remind somebody to like and subscribe. If you needed to adjust the position on them, you could just select them and use the transform tools inside of Final Cut Pro to adjust them to wherever you need. If this video was helpful to you, consider pressing that like button, consider subscribing, and you might want to check out this video where I show you a powerful plugin I've created that brings over 100 different elements from Apple Motion to Final Cut Pro. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one.